For generations, Star Trek symbolized hope, unity, and humanity's better instincts. At the center of that vision stood Captain James T. Kirk, brought to life by William Shatner with confidence, charm, and unmistakable energy. Yet, as with many cultural icons, the story behind the scenes was more complicated than the one told on screen. Shatner was not simply a heroic figure delivering lines under bright studio lights. He was a working actor navigating pressure, ambition, and uncertainty during one of television's most demanding eras. Over time, stories emerged of tension on set, clashing personalities, and creative disagreements that contrasted sharply with the show's message of cooperation. Decades later, Shatner himself has spoken openly about those years, acknowledging mistakes alongside achievements. What emerges is not a tale of villains and victims, but of talented people under extraordinary strain, each trying to protect their place in an unpredictable industry. To understand William Shatner's journey, we must look beyond mythology and explore the human being behind the captain's chair. Beginnings shaped by performance. William Shatner's life began with drama long before Hollywood entered the picture. Born in Montreal, Canada, on March 22, 1931, during a severe snowstorm, his arrival into the world was anything but ordinary. With roads impassable, his mother gave birth at home, setting the tone for a life marked by improvisation and resilience. From an early age, Shatner gravitated toward performance, enrolling in a children's acting program by age 8. Radio soon followed, and by 10, he was performing professionally for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. These experiences taught him discipline, adaptability, and how to command attention, skills that would define his career. While attending McGill University, officially studying economics to satisfy his parents, Shatner spent far more time in campus theatre than classrooms. He later admitted academics never held his interest, while performance felt instinctive. Those formative years shaped an actor driven by instinct, confidence, and a need to be seen, qualities that would both elevate and complicate his later success. Finding his way to the captain's chair by the late 1950s and early 1960s, William Shatner had established himself as a reliable television actor, appearing in respected anthology series like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Defenders, and The Twilight Zone. These performances revealed his ability to portray intensity, vulnerability, and psychological strain, traits that made him memorable even in short roles. When Star Trek entered development, the project was far from guaranteed success. The original pilot was rejected, and the show was nearly abandoned before a second chance emerged. Shatner stepped into the role of James T. Kirk with a clear vision. Rather than portraying a rigid military commander, he aimed for warmth, curiosity, and accessibility. Drawing inspiration from literary heroes and historical figures, he balanced authority with humanity. This interpretation helped distinguish Kirk from other television leads of the era. When Star Trek premiered in 1966, Shatner's performance became central to its appeal, anchoring an ambitious concept with emotional relatability and confidence during a turbulent cultural moment. Pressure, popularity, and creative friction. As Star Trek gained momentum, so did the pressure placed on its cast. Long filming days, tight budgets, and constant rewrites created an atmosphere where creative disagreements were inevitable. Shatner, positioned as the series' lead, often felt responsible for the show's success, a burden that sometimes translated into assertive behavior. Co-stars like Leonard Nimoy also experienced rising popularity, particularly as Spock became a fan favorite. This shift altered the dynamic on set, introducing professional tension rooted more in insecurity and competition than personal hostility. directors and writers frequently faced challenges balancing ensemble storytelling with network expectations. What later became framed as rivalry was often the result of exhaustion, ambition, and the realities of episodic television production in the 1960s. In hindsight, many involved acknowledged that communication suffered under stress. Rather than deliberate sabotage or malice, these moments reflected human reactions to sudden fame and uncertainty. The harmony audiences saw on screen required effort that sometimes came at a personal cost behind the scenes. A show that demanded everything. The production schedule of Star Trek was relentless, pushing cast and crew to their limits. Days frequently stretched beyond 16 hours, leaving little room for rest or reflection. Under these conditions, tempers occasionally flared and creative debates intensified. Shatner later admitted that he struggled with the weight of expectations placed upon him, both by the studio and by himself. He felt responsible for maintaining the show's momentum while also protecting his career in an industry known for moving on quickly. This internal pressure sometimes manifested as impatience or defensiveness, traits that colleagues interpreted differently depending on perspective. Even groundbreaking moments, such as scenes that challenged social norms, came with intense scrutiny and debate. These decisions were not taken lightly, and fears about public reaction were common across television at the time. The demanding environment left little space for emotional balance. By the show's third season, fatigue had become a shared experience, contributing to misunderstandings that would later define much of the show's off-screen legacy. The personal cost of stardom. While Star Trek elevated William Shatner professionally, it quietly eroded his personal life. Married with 3 young daughters, he found himself absent more often than present. Early mornings, late nights, and weekend shoots made family routines nearly impossible. Shatner later reflected with regret on missed birthdays, school events, and holidays, moments that could never be reclaimed. His marriage strained under the weight of distance and exhaustion, ultimately ending shortly after the show's cancellation. At the same time, Star Trek's sudden end left Shatner facing professional uncertainty and financial stress. Typecasting limited opportunities, and work became sporadic. During this period, he experienced profound instability, including living modestly and questioning his future. These years marked a stark contrast to his on-screen image of confidence and control. The man celebrated as a symbol of leadership was privately confronting vulnerability, loss, and fear. It was a humbling chapter that reshaped how he viewed success, ambition, and the price of visibility. Reinvention and redemption. The late 1970s brought an unexpected revival. With renewed interest in science fiction, Star Trek returned as a feature film, and Shatner reclaimed the role that had defined him. Older and more reflective, he approached Captain Kirk with greater vulnerability, allowing age and experience to inform the character. Subsequent films, particularly The Wrath of Khan, earned critical praise and demonstrated his growth as an actor. Beyond Star Trek, Shatner rebuilt his career through television roles that showcased range and self-awareness. T.J. Hooker, and later Boston Legal, revealed his ability to blend authority with humor and introspection. These performances reframed public perception, proving he was more than a single iconic role. Physically, the demands took their toll, but creatively, he had found renewed purpose. With time, Shatner began acknowledging past mistakes openly, framing them not as excuses, but as lessons learned under pressure. Reinvention became not just professional survival, but personal reconciliation with his past. Reflection, regret, and perspective. In later years, William Shatner has spoken candidly about his relationships with former castmates, particularly Leonard Nimoy. Their connection was complex, marked by collaboration, distance, and mutual respect that did not always translate into closeness. Nimoy's passing in 2015 prompted public reflection from Shatner, who expressed regret over unresolved distance between them. Rather than deflecting blame, he acknowledged that ambition and insecurity shaped his behavior. This honesty reframed earlier narratives, offering nuance instead of defensiveness. Aging brought perspective, and with it, a willingness to accept imperfection. Shatner has emphasized that none of the conflicts existed in isolation. They were products of their time, circumstances, and human limitations. Fame magnified every interaction, while exhaustion stripped away patience. The man behind the legend. At 93, William Shatner stands as more than Captain Kirk. He is a performer shaped by opportunity, pressure, success, and consequence. His legacy is not diminished by acknowledging flaws, it is deepened by them. The Star Trek set was not a battleground of heroes and villains, but a workplace where talented individuals navigated unprecedented fame and expectation. Shatner's ambition fueled both achievement and conflict, a duality he now openly accepts. In doing so, he offers a more honest portrait of stardom, one rarely captured in highlight reels. His journey reminds us that icons are human first, carrying insecurities alongside confidence, regrets alongside triumphs. The stories we tell about them matter, especially when they allow space for growth and reflection. William Shatner's life is not just a tale of fame, but of endurance. Through candor and resilience, he has finally stepped out from behind the uniform, allowing the man to stand beside the legend.